I want to talk about the genius of metacasting in Promising Young Woman, which is actually not Carrie, who, I could go on about how amazing and her performance is, but it's actually the guys that I think work so well in Promising Young Woman. And there's very deliberate casting of romantic and comedic actors into these incredibly damaging, really toxic, really kind of quietly menacing roles of, the nice guy, and they're never the nice guy. They're disgusting.
It feels like who McLovin grew up to be.
Yes. And you've got the fake Schmidt, we call him like that on my Promising Young podcast, where you can't take away the lovable, geeky, romantic leads roles that we associate with Christopher Mintz-Plasse, with Bo Burnham, with Adam Brody, and then seeing them in these really, really menacing roles is so jarring. And that's kind of one of the powerful things about the film, that you see these characters that are engaging with Cassie, with Carey Mulligan's character, and you don't expect them to behave in that way, to be menacing, to be potentially rapists, to be potentially abusers. And they are, and they behave in this really terrible ways, and they're called out for it by her character. And it really calls us out as well as an audience, because we're so used to seeing them in these really fluffy roles, and all the narratives that unfold in the film really fit within the structure of romantic comedies, of comedies in general. And, even the character of Seth Cohen by Adam Brody, it's essentially a parody of a type of nice film boy that he helped create through his character of Seth in the OC. And seeing them as these menacing figures kind of hiding in plain sight becomes so effective, because it's playing with our own audience and industry expectations of who these actors are supposed to play, so much more than our expectations of who Carey Mulligan is allowed to play.
I wanted to just build on that as well, to say with Bo Burnham's casting, I think was absolutely so devastating to me, because I have loved his work since he was doing comedy. I have always looked up to him as one of the nice guys. And so
you feel personally betrayed by him.
Well, yeah. And it really ties into this idea that, you don't want it to be true. You desperately don't want it to be true. And the crushing part of Promising Young Woman is having to realize that how men present themselves is not always who they are. And that's the really, really heartbreaking part of that film. And I think his casting in particular is just whoa. Yeah, I needed some time after that movie.
I literally was going to build on it in a similar way, that the meta casting of Jennifer Coolidge as well, as the mom that we all know from our generation, from the pink teeny movies.
I'm taking the dog.
Yeah, right? And then even Alfred Molina, who usually is a very comforting presence in this. I mean, his scene, I think, is my favorite in the whole movie, where it feels almost surreal, where he's begging for forgiveness. That moment it feels like it's existing in another part of reality.
Yeah, he's weirdly also he's uncredited in this film, even though he has a substantial but small role. But he is still a comforting presence. He's probably, he's the one who admits his guilt and his participation in this really toxic culture and begs for forgiveness. And it's really he really demeans himself in this role. It's really staggering to see.
That's just a taste of the kind of discussions we have here on the Screen Test. So if you want to watch more, you can click right over there. And you can enjoy this week's episode where we're discussing the best movies of 2021 so far. Go on, give it a little click. I know you like to. You like to click things.